The evolution of Michigan State has been nonstop since the school was founded in 1855. An influential person that would forever change the school's nickname was Lansing State Journal sports editor George Alderton. As we look back to the past, there is archival audio of George talking about his time covering MSU. From an interview done by WKAR in 1985 that was facilitated by Jim Adams and Earl Robinson, they asked George how the nickname went from an Aggie to a Spartan.
It came upon me when I looked through the applicants that sent in the names, and I wondered about it at the time. They chose the name Michigan State Staters. Well, that didn't work. I knew that wouldn't work at all, so I called up Jim Hasselman, who was in the one-man band in the public relations department out there, good old Jim and his corduroy coat and his pipe. And Jim says, they're in the basket. If you want to look at them, come on out. And I went out and sorted through them, and there was I've run across the name Spartans. Well, it has a connotation that, as I said today, that escapes most people, It's because in the old ancient Sparta, everything was for the state. So that rang the bell with me, but I didn't want to impose it on people just willy-nilly. I knew I couldn't do that, so I waited till the baseball team was in the South. When the dispatch came back, one of the games they played, I put the Spartans from the North. 2 days later, the student paper published it, and we were in. The Spartan was born. That was April 2nd, 1926.
Once the new name was implemented, George never knew who sent in the name.
Of course, for a while we were the only ones using it, and except for the student newspaper, but it finally caught on. I didn't have a single objection to it. I've always regretted that I didn't have the name of the man or woman who had submitted that name. It was on that slip, I suppose, but I didn't think it was too important at the time, and I'm sorry that I didn't keep the name of that person. So really, the name of who submitted that, the person who submitted the name, was unknown.
George also saw a lot of new structures being built on campus, and one of those structures was Spartan Stadium.
It was built, had a sandhill where the stadium is now, and I was there the first day that Ralph Hayward Young came to be interviewed about becoming director of athletics over there, and I was with a small group, and went out. The stadium was building, and I saw Young with his weight. He had a little trouble climbing up in that sand there, but there wasn't very much of the stadium to be seen, but they wanted to show him that they were building a stadium. The stadium was built by a state of Michigan building group that they had organized under Governor Grossbeck. Actually, it was state employees who built the stadium.
George continued to be part of MSU's history when the school asked for 3 pictures that would be placed on Jennison Fieldhouse.
Those there's the 3 plaques over the fieldhouse now, gymnasium, Jennison Gym. I don't even notice those plaques up there. There's a football player and a basketball player and a baseball player in that stone. A little story about that. Dr. Hanna called me one day, and he said, the stonemasons are coming tomorrow to put those plaques over the door, and he said, I've got to have 3 pictures of Michigan State athletes on my desk at 8 o'clock in the morning. Can you have them here? And I said, yes, I can. He says, are you sure? I said, I'll have them there. So I know who those 3 players were. Marty Hutt is the basketball player. He was a good one here. And the football player, of course, is All-America Johnny Pingle, the great left halfback. And the catcher is Steve Thibault.
George had one final thought of how college athletics have changed and how his statement still is relevant to this day.
Oh, I think it's the enthusiasm now. Not only among the athletes, but it's the people who watch them play, too. I think there's a great deal more enthusiasm now than there ever was before, and it's good. America is young. As long as we have those athletes playing these games in high school and colleges, America is young. I lived among them for all those years. They wouldn't let me grow old. They wouldn't let me think old.